I'm sitting in a coffee shop here in Beijing right now after a meeting with another school that's interested in hiring good teachers from America. And I just wanted to update all of you teachers who are interested in coming over here on what the things are that these schools really care about. You know, I've been meeting with the top public schools in Beijing, top international schools in Shanghai and Beijing, private kindergartens, private Montessori, obviously Montessori is private, but Montessori kindergartens, early childhood programs. So I've been talking with a wide range of schools, and there's just a few things that all of the schools are concerned about. So I just want you to be aware of these things that schools want to know. Number one, you know, they all have certain requirements. You know, early childhood programs have fewer requirements than like IB high school programs. Obviously, IB high school programs like to see much more academic study in the subject that they're hiring you for. Early childhood programs really care more about, you know, is this person good with kids, and you know, does their personality match? You know, is their personality good for working with children? But probably, and therefore you need to check the requirements for each school on their profile pages. But the biggest thing that I wanted to tell you is what a school cares about when they're looking for teachers, because there's lots of teachers out there. There's lots of teachers out there, and therefore the thing that's difficult about all hiring, not just teacher hiring, but I'll talk about it, you know, for education, is finding the right match for the school. You know, is a teacher going to fit in this school's system, in this school's philosophy? Is the teacher going to work well with others at the school? And therefore, you know, when you're creating your profile videos, maybe you want to think about creating specific videos for a school. You know, we do give you the option on your profile to create as many videos as you want. You could go to youtube.com, click upload, and record a webcam video just like I'm doing right now. And you could create a specific note for a school saying, you know, talking about how you're interested in the school because of certain qualities that you have. The second thing that schools really care about is, you know, when I speak to them, I say, you know, Matt and I, we really like to get to know our candidates very well before we recommend them to you. And they say, well, you know, we really hope that you're going to recommend to us candidates who are flexible. And that's probably the best way to describe this characteristic that all schools want, is flexibility in their teachers. And if you've ever lived overseas, specifically in China or Korea, depending on whatever school you're applying to on our website, if you've ever lived overseas, you've probably become a more flexible person. And if you haven't, that probably means that you left pretty quick, maybe after your first year contract, or maybe even before. You know, living overseas requires flexibility. Working overseas requires flexibility. Working in a school overseas requires extreme flexibility, and that's just something that you're going to develop. You know, you need to be personally flexible. You know, going to for example, this is my second time in Beijing. My first time was 6 years ago. Going to a restaurant, I realized that they don't drink cold water in restaurants. You know, there's not just a cup of water at every single table, and you can't get frustrated by that. You can't start asking me like, oh, where's the water? You just need to understand this. You need to look around and be personally flexible. That's just a very small example, obviously. Second thing, professionally flexible. You know, in school systems here, just to give you a very specific example, that Beijing's the high school attached to Beijing Normal University. I was speaking with their head of school yesterday. It's a public school. It's probably one of the top two or three public schools in the city, and therefore probably in the country. Mr. Principal Meng was telling me, you know, we had this situation where a teacher failed a student, a foreign teacher of ours. He failed one of our students, and all of their students are extremely smart, taking many AP classes, preparing to go to school overseas. And he failed the student because the student plagiarized something, maybe a few paragraphs in a paper that he wrote. And there was zero flexibility on the teacher's part. And just, you know, speaking to Western educated people and those that educate people with Western standards, that might sound really bad. Plagiarism, bad, definitely a big no-no. But nonetheless, in China and Korea, I'm only going to speak to those two countries, but I'm going to, you know, kind of broaden it to Confucian culture, Confucian education culture in general. Plagiarism is not the worst thing in the world. Many students do it, and you've probably heard of many students doing it as well. It needs to be discouraged, definitely. Okay, but there needs to be some flexibility. We need to teach the kids, or you need to teach the kids about Western philosophy, Western education philosophy, and the fact that plagiarism is not a good thing. Um, copying things is not is commonly done over here, and therefore uh, we're preparing them. You're preparing them to go to school in America. So teach them about what we expect in America, or elsewhere. But most of these students go abroad no, I don't want to say most. American colleges, Canadian colleges, the UK, Australia. I mean, they do go to all of the Anglo-Saxon countries for university, but just Western standards in general. So professional flexibility is also necessary. And the third thing is cultural flexibility. That's kind of a mix of both of those things, but you essentially just need to be one of those people that absorbs what's around you rather than judging what's around you and complaining about what's around you. Look around at what other people are doing and get a sense for it. It doesn't mean that you have to do what they do. In fact, you shouldn't do what they do because you're a foreigner and you're going to be different and they expect you to be different. Okay? But try to slowly adapt. Quickly adapt too is good, but everything about your job, your personal living situation, your relationships with your boss, with your coworkers, everything's going to be a little bit different. Everybody will give you a lot of leeway because they know you're a foreigner, and therefore they're not going to expect you to do everything the way they do it. But you really do, if you want to have a good time, essentially, and become a better person. Flexibility is the word of the day. So be flexible, be open to new things, and really understand what schools are looking for when they're when they have all of these different candidates that they're considering. If you're lucky enough to get an interview with some of these very good schools we work with, make sure that you convey how you're going to be a good member of their school in all of those different areas. So that's the update for now. I hope it helped you understand a little bit more about what schools really want when they're hiring.